The next morning it was cool and slightly damp, but the railway was working fine as normal. But today there were fewer passenger trains running, while freight service was on a steady rise. The branch lines, such as the Kirk Ronan and the Farquhar branch, were also having temporary struggles with the income of deliveries from the mainland, as well as other parts of the globe. Thankfully, the main heavy duties were handled by David, Jason, and Luke, which saved time for the other engines to work on their own jobs that they were used to. By mid-afternoon, weather reports came in about a heavy thunderstorm that was to come rolling by in the evening. After helping out with Lily and Iris on the Kirk Ronan branch, Thomas was ordered to deliver some new rails over on Edward's branch line, where parts of the line were undergoing some examinations and routine maintenance. He was later assigned to work in the China clay pits with Bill and Ben, much to his dismay, for he knew the troubles he had with the twins in the past. When dusk fell upon the island, dark clouds started to move in overhead. Due to the recent events of rain, the railway had taken the risk of flooding that threatened to wash the rails away. Even the drain near the China clay pits was in danger of bursting its banks. Then as early evening came, a night shower poured down. The storm had arrived much earlier than expected.
Driver says this will become one of the most heaviest showers he's ever seen in his life. Don't remind me. It brings back the time when I was stuck in the drain in 1988. Let's just hope something like that never happens again. That was 29 years ago. But as they say, history can repeat itself. And even if we can make an attempt to cross it when flooded, one of us will get stranded or even washed off of the tracks.
It had been raining heavily for hours. The rain had flooded the drains so much that the twins were unable to deliver the China clay to Brendam docks, as the water from the drain would wash out their fireboxes, so Thomas was called to deliver it himself. He reached the hollow land, slowing right down as he slithered through the cold water.
Now I know what those can help.
Hi there, Thomas. Fancy seeing you here. Where's Edward?
He's working on the main line at the moment, covering for James's trains. So, I'm here to cover his. I just hope the water at the drain won't rise any higher.
Don't worry about it. When it gets too high for either me or Bill to travel through, that's normally as high as it gets. You should be fine and able to manage.
Thomas smiled. Although the twins did like to play tricks, they knew when to use common sense, so he knew he could trust them.
that's done it. We're not going anywhere now.
That's Ben! Telling me if it was safe to puff through. I'll give him a piece of my mind the next time I see him.
Now, Thomas, this might be a rare occurrence. The water may not rise as high, and if that's the case, it's hardly Ben's fault.
How are we going to get him out of the drain? If he's stranded in it, we'll have no chance. The same way Thomas rescued you from it, with a cable. Thomas, I'm sorry. I had no idea the drain was going to flood that much.
It's fine, Ben. You're not to blame. Driver said that was a rare occurrence.
Yes, it was. It doesn't usually flood that much. Not at this time of the year during the autumn season, unlike it was back in 1988.
I thought as much.
Thomas's driver and fireman went to talk with the quarrymaster about the situation with the drain. The quarrymaster said it would be best to stay for the night until the flooding had subsided. As nighttime came, the rain turned into a drizzle, which allowed Bill and Ben to work on the other side of the clay pits to try and sort out some trucks that had been mixed up with another train. Meanwhile, Thomas was dozing in the shed as the sound of thunder echoed off in the distance. Half an hour later, the late shower grew worse as thunder clapped and lightning flashed. Thomas started to fall asleep, but it wouldn't be for long. He suddenly felt very cold and uneasy as he could sense the presence of someone in the area before the faint sounding of an unfamiliar whistle echoed in the distance, followed by the slight puffing of an engine.
It's just impossible. Another engine can't have made it over from the drain to get here. Besides, it's flooded.
He thought he was only hearing things, but he was wrong. The puffing sound grew louder and louder and louder. Being very brave, Thomas peered through the pouring rain, trying to see just who the unknown visitor was as the puffing sound grew even more louder, until it stopped just inches from him.
Hello? Who's there? Whoever you are, show yourself.
Hello there, little engine.
No! No! No way!
At long last, I have found the railway's number one. You're more than what I first expected when hearing about you. Such a shame this had to happen. But I guess it's time. Prepare yourself to join those who came before you. So much fear in such a small engine. You know, it would be more than a pleasure to take you with me. But for the time being, I will spare you. However, little number one, we will meet again. So enjoy the time while it lasts.
Thomas opened his eyes, seeing that the horrible banshee was gone, leaving nothing but a strong stench of oil and smoke in her wake. Bill and Ben turned up, both of them looking very bewildered.
Ben? Was it me, or did you just hear another engine in the pits? We did. But how can that be? Besides, the drain is flooded.
Then the twins could smell something.
Bill, was Boko here earlier today? Diesels don't have whistles, Ben. Then, why do we smell oil? And it smells worse than normal. This stench is really strong. Yeah, a lot stronger than what our crews give to oil us. Thomas, did you hear anything? Thomas? Are you okay?
Thomas was too horrified to reply, but he was a very lucky engine to have survived after having the closest encounter with 311, the engine that could have only come from the deepest depths of hell itself.